Welcome to this special show. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Today we're talking about challenges that businesses face and how they can adapt to thrive, not just survive. I'm talking about a book written by Harit Nagpal. He's CEO of Tata Play, and he's with us in the studios to talk about what the inspiration was behind these 10 stories on disruptive businesses. Harit, first of all, welcome to NDTV Profit. Great to have you in our offices and in our studios.
Thank you so much.
Talking about adapting businesses, and we'll get in a bit to your business and how that has adapted as well to the current challenges. But tell us a bit about the book.
Well, the book was an accident. It really happened because I was constantly, challenged. I've changed 6 industries over a 40-year span. And every time I got into a new industry, I was told, oh, this industry is different. It is not like the others. The business principles of this industry are very different. They're not the same as any other industry. And I would say, in the end, every business job is to serve the customer. And the customer who buys a cola, buys a candy, buys a car, buys a coconut oil, buys clothing, buys everything. He's got a decision-making criteria as to what he's going to buy, what he's not going to buy. So how can your principles be different when the customer is the same? And then I was challenged by generations. You call them whatever name, Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen whatever. And everybody said, oh, the old customer used to be different, but today's customer is very different. And I said, look, the basics can't change. The environment is changing, the circumstances are changing, the technology is changing. But the basics of business cannot change. You have to adapt to the new circumstances. You have to adapt to the new technology, when you're going and serving the customer. But the basics of the business in terms of who your segments are, how your pricing is done, how your distribution is done, how your branding is done, how you set up an organization, what kind of a culture you create to serve the customer in the end, those things don't change. So which is why I said, let me just put it down in a book. And adapt happened.
But the form you've used is interesting because there are 10 stories, and it's an easy read. It's written in a way where there's not too much jargon. You're actually telling people's stories. Now, are these real stories? Are these characters fictional? Did all of this actually happen? And why these 10 stories?
Almost everything that you read in this book in terms of context is, the content as such is real. I've either been through it or I've seen it happen in front of me. The reason to use fiction was to just make it interesting and digestible for the customer. Because, and my customer was a reader. Because nobody likes to read preachy stuff. You give me a 2x2 metric and say, this is how it happens. I say, okay, guys, it was taught to me in my MBA or in my class or whatever. I know it, it's okay, it's past. But if you set it into a context like a Hindi movie or whatever, so I had to be a Salim Javed while writing this, frankly.
Okay. So there were some creative liberties taken with what happened.
Of course, some amount of hyperbole, some amount of dramatization is there.
Yeah.
But the facts are exactly how they happen.
So I found some of these very interesting. Is it safe to say, even though the stories are set in different geographies, they're all about things that have happened in India? And the examples you see here, and one of them that stood out for me was where you talked about a business which was trying to, or a person who came from abroad and was trying to sell frozen, ready-to-eat meats and food. You said it in Bangladesh, but it sounds like an India story.
It could be Turkey.
It could be Turkey, but the lesson from it is know who you do not want to sell to.
I think that's most important because that's exactly what happened in the story. He's asked, do you know who you're selling to? And he says, look, we'll launch and find out who my customer is. Now that's, and I've seen many businesses do that. I have a good product idea. I fall so much in love with it that I think everybody will love it. And then we go and launch it, and then we find 2 customers. And this has happened so many times. It happened to me. It's happened to a lot of us, in fact. We have no idea who my real customer is, or is there a customer also out there or not. I love the idea so much.
So you can fall in love with your concept of something and it may not work. Now, I just want to contextualize the idea of adapting your business in today's world, where you are seeing industries sort of become irrelevant and disappear in very short spans. You have threats that you never even thought about. Now suddenly you have a whole host of industries who are wondering, AI, what does AI mean for me? How do I adapt to AI? And it's becoming ridiculous. You're seeing the AI tag on everything and any kind of product. Tell us about how you adapt in a world like this.
So, it is not necessary to just figure out who my customer is and what his needs are when you launch a business. It's an ongoing process because the customer's life is also not static. He's also impacted by changes in environment, changes in what is available to him, the technologies and his lifestyle. And you need to be aware of what those changes are so that you continuously adapt your offering to his changing needs. Now, one day, suddenly, if you wake up that my sales are dropping, or my customers are dropping, and people are telling you, oh, there is a pipe. That's what's happened in one of the stories where he says, oh, the sales are dropping because we dumped too much in the last quarter. So it's only a pipeline effect that's happening. The fact was the customer's life was changing and he'd started rejecting the product category, and he realizes it a little too late when everything is over. And he's not changed the product formulation or the pricing or its distribution or its promotion as in real time online almost. So keeping an eye on the customer is not just important at the time of launching a product, but it's very important as you go along.
You know, we're talking about adaptation, and I have to ask you, Mr. Nagpal, about your industry and your business, where I think adaptation is just necessary to even survive. The biggest conversation right now is how many people have cut the cord, who's watching TV. I mean, I work in TV news, and I hear that every day, that hum TV nahi dekhte hain. How are you adapting to that?
I've been told. Now imagine if you were told that, how many times I would have been told that. Even my children said, Dad, I assure you're in the right business. So, but the fact still remains that, yes, there are some people who are cutting the cord. But is everybody cutting the cord? And is that permanent? You recently saw Asia Cup, World Cup, and IPL, all three being offered for free online. But the television industry, the pay TV industry, where people pay 300 rupees, 350 rupees a month to watch television, probably saw the highest growth versus any previous World Cup or Asia Cup or IPL that's been seen in that period. So is TV dead? There are 110 million people who are paying 300 rupees a month. Homes, sorry, not people. 110 million homes that are paying 300 rupees a month on an ongoing basis for television still. There are new customers coming into the pay TV world every day, which are more than the new customers coming into the OTT world every day. Because we run both the businesses. I'm an aggregator for television. We are also aggregators for OTT, paid OTT apps. We have a business called Binge, which we launched about 2 years ago, where we aggregate the OTT apps, and you could buy a bundle of OTT apps and get a unified interface through which you don't have to go from one app to the second to the third.
But I'm sure you're seeing a greater growth on Binge.
No, we're not.
No.
The new customers that are coming in onto television every day is by a factor more than the new customers who are coming into Binge every day. Because what happens is we look around ourselves, like the first story, and say, me and my friends are buying frozen, ready-to-eat food. Therefore, everybody in the country must be buying frozen, ready-to-eat food.
So, okay, if I were to put this another way, you're saying India is maybe cutting the cord, but not Bharat. Bharat is still watching TV.
Even India is not cutting the cord. So what do you think everybody who's living in Bombay is rich, and everybody who's sitting in a village poor? No. That's not a fact. See, there are people who drive a very fancy car, an average car, and a low-end car in Bombay. There are people who take the metro. There are people who take the cab. There are people who take the bus. There are people who take the auto, and there are people who use the bicycle also. All of us coexist. If there are people buying scooters, there are people buying cars, then why are you building a metro? And all around me in Bombay, when I see metros, new metros being built everywhere. Why are you building those metros if the cars and the scooters population in Bombay is increasing every day? All industries coexist, all forms of delivery coexist.
No, but my question is, yes, you had maybe an unusual year. You're talking about World Cup and all of these events.
There's a World Cup next year also.
True, but this time maybe there was more push to watch it, etc. Can you see this sustaining?
Why not? I don't see
Everyone
anything.
is saying this is a sunset industry. You're saying no, it isn't. Are more people going to come on and watch TV, or are they going to, the current generation, is that going to not even know how to change a channel?
See, your problem is that you are watching the current generation in your own genre.
Correct.
There are various genres of the current generation also. You live in South Bombay and you look at the current generation of your genre and you say, oh, all my friends are watching XYZ, so everybody travels by car, so who's using the metro?
No, the kids don't know what a remote is.
Your kids. Not everybody's kids. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So point taken. So you're saying TV is here to stay. The business is here to grow.
And OTT is here to stay also. And both will grow. Just as planes and trains are both growing. TV and OTT will both grow.
If you're saying you're still growing, how are you adapting to changing consumer tastes? Where is the adapt part of the story?
We are improving the user interface, the picture quality, the sound quality, and ability to search for content on television. Similarly, the binge, which we launched a couple of years ago, every day is better than what it was yesterday. So you just looking at what are the hurdles that the customer is facing, what are the expectations of the customer, and you're improving the user interface, ability to search, speed at which you can search for what you're looking for, and the quality of the delivery, because your televisions are getting larger, your quality of sound speakers is getting better. So I have to provide better quality of picture, better quality of sound, and you need to get, for example, in television, we used to say that you should be able to reach the content that you're looking to watch in 5 seconds and 4 clicks of your having switched on the television. And that was the attempt, and that's how we designed the user interface. In OTT, the number of pieces of content that you have available to you is 1,000,000 times more than what you have on television. Television only has 300 channels at a point in time.
Yeah.
The total of 900, a person subscribes to 300 or whatever. So you have only one of the 300 to choose from. In OTT, you have, if you subscribe to a 22 app or 23 app pack, you have a few million pieces of content to go through. How do you get to the piece that you want to watch in 5 seconds of having switched on your phone or your iPad or your TV? And that's what we're working on constantly. And that's what we are adapting to. Because in the end, the customer is looking for quality.
It's also a different experience, right? In OTT, sometimes you don't even know what you want to watch. You're just like looking around, you're grazing around.
It's my job to figure out what you've been watching in the past. Okay. And serve you on a rail from all these 27 apps that you subscribe to. For example, if you speak Bangla and you're interested in comedy, so, and my past data tells me that then I have to pull out Bangla comedies from the 27 apps that you have subscribed to and put them in one screen on one rail. And chances are that you will pick up the latest one out of that and start watching. Rather than you having to go to one app, look for Bangla comedy, second app, look for Bangla comedy, third app, and by the time you reach the 5th, you've forgotten what you selected on the first one.
And that's happening with advertising as well, more targeted advertising?
Targeted advertising, since you brought up the subject, I'd say that started to happen on television. We've been the first ones to just introduce this a few days ago. Because in the past, if an advertiser took a 30-second slot on a television channel, then everybody across the country, regardless of whether he was in the market for that product or not, had to see that ad. Now, if a soap company has 3 levels of soap, one at 5 rupees, one at 15 rupees, one at 35 rupees, he had to advertise the 5 rupee soap separately, 15 rupee soap separately, and the 35 rupees guy never got a chance to advertise because he was told, tumhara spillage both hoga. So you don't advertise, you go direct or something like that. We've now introduced a service whereby an advertiser can take one slot and his signal is split into 3 beams when the ad starts. So you are a 5 rupee customer, you will see the 5 potentially. he's a 15 rupee customer, he'll see the 15 rupee soap, and somebody else who's a 35 rupee customer will see the 35 rupees.
So they'll spend less. You're saving the advertisers money.
On the contrary, more advertisers will come in because the efficiency of advertising is getting better. You don't have to buy 3 spots to reach these 3 segments. Same goes for cars, same goes for everything else. If I've got 3 products, all 3 need not be soaps. There could be 3 different products. Or 3 different advertisers could come in here and take 3 different slots. So you're getting more efficient. So more people will find use for advertising.
Okay, so the kind of targeted ads that we all get on our phones is going to happen on TV as well.
Is starting to happen on television now.
All right. Let's talk a bit about the business. The big buzz last year was the IPO. Then it got delayed. Is it coming back now that market conditions seem very sublime? Everyone wants to list right now. Is Tata play making a return to the primary market?
See, I hear about my IPO from the news channels all the time.
So we're asking you. We're asking you upfront.
The speed with which, the frequency with which you keep talking about it, maybe one day it'll happen. So
that's neither here nor there, Mr. Nagpal.
It is neither here nor there.
So is the Temasek issue sorted? The stake issue sorted?
See, I really don't know about that. Frankly, I'm an operating person.
So you can't comment
I don't get into the investment part, the investor relations part of it at all.
Okay, but an IPO is still on the drawing board at some point. It's not off the drawing board.
I'm not aware of anything that's happening as of now.
Okay, I had to ask. So exciting things happening at the company, at Tata Play. You're saying TV is very, very much alive. What is the next 5 years looking like for you? As we talk about an aspirational India, we talk about a premiumization in every category. Is there a concern that as smart TVs become more accessible, more will quote unquote cut the cord?
If they cut the cord, they will come to binge. So I've got an OTT aggregation also available with me. But the fact remains that there are 140 million homes in this country out of the 300 million homes who are yet to buy their first TV. You be mindful of that. So the runway is still very long.
Maybe they will never buy a TV. They'll be happy with their tablet.
If they haven't been able to gather enough money to buy a 5,000 rupee TV, how do you expect them to subscribe to broadband and OTT content and smart TV at the same time?
So they'll watch stuff on their phone.
That requires
on platforms, so on your social media platforms.
These are the homes that probably don't even have access to broadband. Even mobile broadband as of now.
So that would be the first step for them.
The first step is normally, the first durable that is bought in a home, data tells us, is a television, before even a fridge is bought or a washing machine is bought or even furniture is bought when you go into rural homes. There are 140 million homes that have yet to buy their first TV. That's the runway. There are 45 million homes or so who have bought the TV but have not subscribed to pay TV. Some of them will move to pay TV. And some of the pay TV homes will subscribe to OTT aggregations also in addition. Some of them may drop the television and subscribe only to OTT aggregation. So we are in television aggregation and we are in OTT aggregation both.
Okay, so you're ready to adapt to the changing customer needs.
Well, that's what we've been doing all this while.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Harit Nagpal, for speaking with us today, coming down to our studios, of course, talking about your book and what's happening with the business.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me over.